The NBA has a problem. They can't get fans to tune into the games, and when they do, it's filled with complaints with that there's too many fouls, or the game's too many threes, or the referees suck, or a combination of all three. What truly is the problem that's seen the NBA lose 19% of, traditional viewers over the last year? I think the NBA has a combination of issues and improvements that they have not addressed in the game and how long, and it's causing their product to look the worst it has in decades. My reason number one is that it's too hard to tune into the games. NBA has 30 teams, with each team having 82 games in a season. And while obviously you can't make any money by having all the games being free to watch, but you're giving teams, now they might be small market teams, but you're giving small market teams who have recently picked 2, 3, 4 guys in the lottery who are starting to do good. And I have an example in my head right now. The Pistons. The Pistons have, I believe, 4 nationally televised games in 2025. Keep in mind that same Pistons team is a sixth seed. They wouldn't even be in the play-in right now. They are a bona fide playoff team with 4 nationally televised games from the end of October to the beginning of April, until, of course, the NBA playoffs resume, which we'll touch on that soon. NBA can't seem to figure out how to disperse the games to where fans can, watch their teams. Instead, the NBA has heavily relied on the League Pass, which has led to a culmination of, not only is it not being purchased nearly as much, but also teams are they're looking up the highlights on YouTube of seeing their team player. They're looking at the box score because it's impossible to find these games. You have even NBA players like the LeBron James using third-party services to go watch games that he plays in the league for.
So you got to buy cable for your own teams, and then you got to buy League Pass to get the League Pass stuff. So what ends up happening is the distribution of games now. They're harder to find.
Another issue is that the NBA doesn't know how to put on these games for the younger guys. They are heavily relying on older talent. Los Angeles Clippers, I believe, have 16 to 17 nationally televised games, and yet they aren't very fun. The most fun player to watch right there is Norman Powell, and even he, no offense to him, but I would much rather see these younger guys who are supposed to carry the league for the next 10, 12, 15 years play ball. Paolo Banchero is a literal LeBron clone. He's 6'10", 255, and he has a 25, 5-5 score right next to him. And although the team has been mid this year, they were a playoff team last year, and they barely have any games nationally televised. The NBA has a problem with pushing towards new talent. The NBA can't advertise. The NFL is one of the best sports leagues when it comes to advertising their new talents. They are boosted to the forefront. They are given the popularity that the sport needs to progress it throughout its decades when it's losing talent. The NFL lost Tom Brady and is still mounting new records in terms of viewership because the NFL, that's my cat, is better at advertising their new talent. You lose a player like Tom Brady and you have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You have these talents that are coming right behind and they're backing those players up. With the NBA, we still have that. We lost a couple of players in the last decade that were great. Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, even younger players like DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall. And we have elite talents like SGA, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, Cade Cunningham. All these dudes are all young guys that are Luka Doncic, that are all under the age of like 26, 27, yet they're not being pushed to the forefront. They're not as popular as they should be. The NBA is one of the best sports leagues ever in terms of players establishing their own brands, those players being social media presences. LeBron James has almost 200 million followers on Instagram. Stephen Curry has almost 40 million followers on Instagram. These players are some of the most followed athletes besides soccer, a global game, in the world. Tom Brady has, 12, 13 million? And obviously the NBA isn't all about followers, but building personalities is what brings your games. The New York Giants, they had Odell Beckham Jr., and he was bringing people to come watch his games. People were watching the games because they wanted to see what Odell Beckham would do. And in doing that, they had more nationally televised games, which led fans to then come and watch what they were doing. The NBA has failed at that so heavily. And it's not like they can't do it. Victor Wembanyama has become a global sensation, and it's because they push him. The NBA knows how to push dumb rhetorics for players like Bronny, which, in my defense, I think he's a great player, but I mean, he's a G League star, but he can't do shit in the NBA, and yet they've pushed him more than they've pushed a lot of these young guys. The 2024 NBA draft has been known to be kind of a stinker, but they still have multiple guys that are putting up 10, 9, even 8 points per game, and they're not being advertised. I could ask you right now, who's leading the league in rookie points per game? You'd probably say Jared McCain. He hasn't played a game since almost, December, November. Yet Jalen Wells, who's having a great season as a rookie in Memphis and is leading them to the 2 seed, you probably don't even know his name because the NBA can't advertise new talent. And although they're not pushing the boundaries of an NBA rookie like we have seen in the past how many years, we've been spoiled with talent to the point where you ask somebody to talk about the NBA and they still think John Wall is on the Wizards because the NBA can't push new talent. The 2010s are coming to an end. Those players are becoming washed. Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, who, funny enough, are all on the same team, and they're all looking like shells of themselves. NBA, we have been so blessed to see LeBron James play for the last 22 years. He has spoiled us. But a lot of times we only speak on LeBron James, but we don't recognize the amount of longevity that the 2 stars beside him in the league have had, which is Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. Those 3 players right there have almost completely changed the game in terms of what we are to expect from these players. LeBron James has been as consistent as ever for the last 22 years, but Kevin Durant's been in the league for 17. Kevin Durant right now is putting up 27, 6, and 4. Yes, it might be on a faulty team right now, but that doesn't discredit the fact that he's putting up all NBA first team numbers. Why would I go and tune in to the Memphis Grizzlies or the Detroit Pistons or the Orlando Magic or these teams with newer, younger talent? Even why would I go and tune in to the Oklahoma City Thunder when I can watch Kevin Durant put up 30 points for the Suns, when I can watch LeBron put up a 28-point triple-double? We have been so spoiled by the amount of talent that they've continued to produce year in and year out that even in a slump that Stephen Curry has had this year, and you can even put the quotation marks in terms of slump because he's still averaging, 22, 23 points per game, because his production has slowed down a little bit from the level that we're used to from Stephen Curry, it's damaging the perception of standard that we're used to. People were calling James Harden washed when it was around the time that his play was going to take a crescendo or descent. He is getting older. These players get older, but we have been so spoiled by these 3 players completely disregarding the effects of Father Time and continuing to play on all NBA levels that it's almost like, you can't notice it. It's hurting the NBA from being able to advertise its younger viewers to, the newer, younger players that are going to be carrying the NBA when these players retire in the next, 3-4 years. We don't have much more time of watching LeBron James drop 30-point triple-doubles when he's 40. We don't have that much more time of watching Kevin Durant still give us 30-point games on 70% shooting. We don't have much more time of watching Stephen Curry give us these elite shooting performances because their time is almost up. These players' careers are about to come to an end, and we still don't have those definitive guys that are going to carry us through the next how many years. Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, but one thing they all have in common is they're all almost 30, if they're not 30 already. These guys cannot carry us throughout the next 10, 15 years because they have reached that age that they are too old, and they were supposed to be the ones carrying us through these last 5, 7 years. But guess what? LeBron was still kicking in year 16. LeBron was still playing like an All-NBA first team player at the age of 34. Michael Jordan, he had retired, twice by the age he was 40. Michael Jordan had obviously taken a very steep decline to where the game that everybody puts up where he put up 40 points, he also put up 37 shots. We have seen a wrinkle in time with these three megastars, and it's affected the game. The last topic I want to talk about is something that I'm very passionate about, because the first time I ever really started to watch basketball, I loved the All-Star game. I thought the All-Star game was one of the most fun, one of the most unique things. Well, not really unique, but I just thought it was so fun because, you know, the NBA is 82 games, and these players, they get a couple of days break, and in that break you have a full weekend of festivities for these players where they get to be recognized for, you know, the amount of talent that they have, whether it's their ability to shoot a three-pointer or dunk a basketball or to be better than everybody else and be an all-star. The quality of the entire event, of the entire weekend, has taken such a steep dive that it's seeing a steep dive in viewership, that it's seeing a dive in ratings. I think there's a lot of stuff that the All-Star Weekend does do very well. I think they should keep the skills challenge. I think they should keep the celebrity game, but make tweaks. I don't think that these superstars should be playing the skills challenge. I think make those skill challenges for, you know, the younger guys, for those guys to be able to, you know, show out an all-star weekend. It's a weekend where you advertise the most. It's the most advertisable weekend where these players also get a break. These players are supposed to play from 1 to 82 games full strength and help their team compete for a championship. And the one time they get a break, it's like, I don't want to say overworking them, but you're boring them almost. Let these young guys, let these rookies or these second year players come in and let them just handle that. The celebrity game, I mean, it's a fun, great concept, but it's almost too focused on getting celebrities rather than getting people who actually care about the game. I think that, you know, you have the Pro Bowl weekend for the NFL. I see how, you know, they have guys like Duke Dennis, ANP, RDC World One. They have these guys that are internet presences that are very popular among, you know, the youth. And they have those guys going there and pushing, you know, they make it fun. It's like their version of the celebrity game. It's like they're 7-on-7, and it's fun. And it, you know who's actually playing, because if you're a somewhat fan, you know these guys in terms of, you know, the sport. The NBA, I mean, there's so many basketball creators that should have been given a chance to even go there and just show out. Euro Bounce is just one of them. I'm surprised he still hasn't gotten an invite. Tristan Jazz should have been in how many? The last 9. Professor, he should have been in the last like 20. Ankle Breaker. There's so many presences in, you know, the basketball community and been given a chance to shine, because we still have C-list actors that are getting a chance to be able to go, because you can't get A-list actors anymore because no one's tuning into that shit. The dunk contest, scrap it. Or everybody's been asking for a 1v1 tournament, which I still don't understand why you haven't done it. It would be the most fun way to just see a display of, you know, skills, especially like you can have it be fan voted. You could get the best actual 1v1 players. We know Michael Beasley was not a very good NBA player, but in terms of just being a good one-on-one player, he said it. The only person to beat him was Bam Adebayo. Kyrie Irving, Michael Beasley, Cam Reddish. Have these guys that can go one-on-one and make it a fun game. Have these guys go out there and show off what they can do and just have a prize at the end, whether it's $500,000 for charity. They're gonna play hard for charity. I mean, they don't in the All-Star game anymore, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The All-Star game has seen many changes, whether it's to the trophy, whether it's to the format, whether it's to team captains, whether they're gonna do it or not. And I think it is the most tired concept. I think this year was the worst All-Star game I've seen in a while in terms of concept. It was horrible. You have these guys that just became All-Stars and they're not getting a chance to shine because you have a 40-point target score. Once you hit 40 points, it's over. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Especially asking, what I really found to be beyond stupid was asking the best athletes in the world to just get to 40 points. A lot of these guys could do that in like 10 minutes, and you're giving some of the best players in the world barely 5 minutes to, you know, relish the fact that they're an all-star. They've worked for this their entire lives. NBA had a perfect blueprint in 2020 and 2021. Straight up, take away the shot clock, make those guys reach for the target score, and it's essentially like what the NBA tries to do now, but you're only giving these guys until 40. Make the game where, was it the average of the first 3 points, and then you add a total, and then you have a target score at the end. They've played 3 straight quarters of basketball, and now you're asking them to be very competitive. And hey, go in and win just play as hard as you can for these last how many minutes, get to a target score and win. It was the most flawless execution of, you know, what they wanted to do for the All-Star game to make it competitive. And we got the most competitive All-Star game in years in the 2020 All-Star game. Now, whether it was in wake of, you know, Kobe and Giannis passing, you know, that's to be determined by other factors. But from what I can see, that was the most competitive game we've ever gotten. And it was also very entertaining. And we got some of the best talents to be able to showcase their skills. And I think the NBA is missing that. The NBA hasn't been able to see a lot of these guys showcase their talent because it's not fun anymore, because these guys aren't trying anymore, because they're just going there to just goof off and then leave. You're not giving these guys incentive to win. So bump up. The NBA is a $1 billion company. Bump up the amount you're giving to charity. Make these guys actually play to where if you see a guy take a play off, you're like, dude, you're playing for charity and you want to let Luka Doncic shoot a 40-foot three-pointer, it's stupid. But these are just ways I believe that the NBA could incorporate, you know, little by little to make their product better and more advertisable to the fans. And, you know, I don't play basketball. In fact, I play football, but I know basketball like it's, you know, the back of my hand, and I am very passionate in the sport. And I just, you know, I want to see it be better because right now it sucks. To be so honest with you, right now the product sucks, and it seems very easy to improve it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Austin, and hope to see you guys back for the next video. Peace.